What's up, YouTube? Your boy ChasmRift here, and we got ourselves another video for this discussion. You can see the last episode I recommended, not really like an episodic thing, but we're gonna be talking about Z moves. And since Z moves are gonna be gone, I kind of want to just give my opinions on them. We're gonna start talking about the pros and cons, and then my personal opinion. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion down below. Anything I may have missed, any important parts that you think should have been addressed, down to hear all of it down below. Other than that, let's just get started with this video. So Z moves. If you haven't played Gen 7, Z moves, held item for the Pokemon. When you activate it, you do a little dance and ridiculously long animation, which should be considered as a con in this video, as it really is. And depending on which move you use and which type it is and whatnot, will provide either a lot of damage as a attacking move, or if it's a status move, will provide interesting effects. That's the gist of what Z moves were. So pros. Words are hard. I'm not editing this. I refuse to edit this. Pros. Z moves were a very inclusive concept. This was a very big pro. I put this over as the biggest the biggest pro, because unlike Megas, Z moves can be utilized by all Pokemon within the game. You're not restricted by anything really besides the exclusive moves, which we will talk about soon. But the concept themselves is very inclusive. If your Pokemon, let's say, is a normal type and it knows to move Tackle, if you have Normalium Z, this Pokemon is now compatible to use Breakneck Blitz, which is the Z normal type version of Tackle. It's very inclusive in that nature, and basically it kind of adds an extra depth and a little bit of a buff to certain Pokemon who may not have the best damage in the world, but now since Z moves are out there, they can now rock and roll a little bit stronger. Another pro. They made many status moves relevant, like Splash. That is very true. Splash is literally considered a useless move that does nothing. It says it in the game. And with Z Splash, you're now given a +3 boosted attack. So certain Pokemon like Mimikyu who do learn Splash can have +3 attack, meaning that from just using Z Splash, you can now start sweeping teams. I think that's a plus because, certain status moves you never see used in a tournament setting, like ever. And because of how Z moves were utilized, it gave some of them such importance. Now you may see Z Splash used and be the difference maker in a set in VGC. Another pro that I brought up was it made for many insane combination opportunities, like Hydro Vortex in the rain. Because of weather boosting, the Hydro Vortex become a little bit stronger than what it used to be, or terrain boost. So let's say you go for Psychic MZ and you're in Psychic Terrain. Now your Psychic MZ is a little bit stronger from the terrain boost, because Psychic MZ boosts Psychic type of moves. Psychic MZ, you get the point. So yeah, depending on how well thought out your team is and how well you plan for different combinations and attacks, you could really come up with some nasty combinations that will just put you in a nice position as you're driving down the road to success. Now, talking about the cons. Some Pokemon exclusive Z moves were OP. I'm looking at you, Komodo. You really needed all those stat boosts off of your Z move? Like really? Another con. All status moves had a unique additional effect. Let's listen to this again. All status moves had a unique additional effect. That means status moves you may have even forgotten were in the game can have a unique status effect that could surprisingly make them really strong. And because there are so many status moves, and some of them you kind of forgot ever existed, this could lead to just a lot of shenanigans happening on the field. For example, Z Parting Shot. Look at that right now. When it activates, the Pokemon that switched in, HP is now back to 100%. So let's say, I don't know, your opponent is running a bulky team, they use Z Parting Shot, and they have something really nasty in the back, like Gastrodon on 5% health, or I don't know, a Chansey, and they use Z Parting Shot. Now that Pokemon comes in, and now they're at 100% health. They don't have to use any recovery items. They're now at 100% health at the expense of their presumably weak Pokemon, or weakened Pokemon, has now just bit the dust for that to happen. And status Z moves can bypass many restrictions. This is very true. Z moves can be used despite there being taunts, torments, heal block. I'm reading all this right now off of Mobipedia. and Z moves can still be used despite those restrictions you may be putting on your Pokemon. So yeah, let's say you put that taunt on your opponent because you're like, ha, you can't use your status moves like Protect because I taunted you. Well, now they can use Z status moves if they want to, because that taunt has now been bypassed. Yeah, that sounds like a con in terms of trying to play defense against Z moves. So what are my opinions on Z moves? I'll probably, before I get to that, I should probably list this. Z moves that are attacking. I don't know about the status ones because I haven't really seen someone use a status move on Protect. But Z moves that are used on a Pokemon that use Protect, like let's say use Inferno Overdrive, they can still do chip damage to Pokemon that are in Protect. So I'll say that's a neutral, because on one hand, a Pokemon that's protecting should most likely be able to not be damaged by moves like that. But on the other hand, it's a nice trade-off if you ask me. You get a little bit of chip damage in while Pokemon's probably trying to protect to save his hide. So I'm neutral about that. And some Z moves aren't monsters. There was a video of regionals a few years ago where someone switched into a Gastrodon and the opponent just had to use Hydro Vortex, and Gastrodon Storm Drain actually soaked it all up. So yeah, not all Z moves are godlike if you have the right abilities, I guess. But that is pretty situational right there. Alright, getting into my opinions about Z moves. I said in the last video that I prefer Megas over Z moves, and the reason I say that is because while Z moves are very inclusive and they provide a lot of depth to the game and give you way more combination opportunities because of the aforementioned effects and side effects that these Z moves bring, I don't like them from a competitive standpoint because, well, the status moves particularly. There's still some that are like really strong to fighting against offensively, and I'm willing to bypass that because the trade-off is if I protect that move, then it doesn't do too much to me. But on the flip side, like let's say they hit me with a strong Dragonium Z, I can do the same thing back to them. Like that is still open game to everyone, the attacking side of things. It's just the status ones, it makes it almost impossible to prepare for anything. You may think like, oh hey, I did the calcs, my Pokemon over here can survive the strongest Bloom Doom in the game by the strongest grass type because of the calcs I ran. That is all nice and true, but there are status moves you may have forgotten even existed, or you just didn't know what their side effects were. Like Z conversion, it raises stats. You may have forgotten the conversion existed. Like I said, Z parting shot. Pokemon faints, and then the Pokemon that's weak in the back come in 100% health. Z Rain Dance gives you a boost in speed. Like that's dumb. Like some of these effects are pretty ridiculous when you actually look at the list. Because there are so many status moves, and some of them, whether you even remember all of them or not, you just can't prepare for every single one. Some status moves let you bypass things like Taunt and Torment, like I mentioned earlier. Some of them, I'm not 100% certain on this. I'm confident in saying this. I think all Z moves, regardless of accuracy of the original move, will connect. So if that's to be said, there are some Z moves that I'm afraid of fighting against because of the different additive nature that they add to the game. For example, Z Curse, I'm looking at it right now. It fully restores a user's HP if it's a ghost type, and it raises one stage if you're a non-ghost type. What? How can I prepare for that? Like, that move alone, depending on what type of Pokemon is using it, can either be extremely strong regardless of how it's used. In the past, that curse would have done half the health of the opposing Pokemon as well as doing damage to you, but nope, that's a little wild. So as Corey Gaming has stated in a fighting game video, you know, while for spectators who may enjoy uncertainty in outcome or surprise upsets, Z moves can be great, but for the players themselves or even those who battle online, they can give players near heart attacks. I think that's how I completely feel about all this. Kind of had to reword some things to those Z moves in there, but that's my overall opinion on it. The Z moves can provide heart attacks because let's say you did prepare for your team, go to a tournament, the person uses Z moves you didn't even prepare for, or you forgot that can even be a thing, and you lost because they went for a Z Rain Dance because you forgot Rain Dance can actually be Z moved. You may sit there and say like, wow, That was dumb. I just lost to potentially the weirdest Z move ever, and my opponent is now cruising into their next game with the victory over me. Because yep, Z Rain Dance raises your speed by 1 stage. You can't prepare for all Z moves. They're all too ambiguous. So regardless, I want to hear you guys' opinion down below. I want to see what you guys got to say. Do you guys agree or disagree with me? I'll hear some of your valid points down below and interact with other people. Again, I don't get paid off YouTube, so this engagement doesn't really help me out. Just do it. Alright, I'm gone. Bye.